Do you think artificial intelligence can be governed at the global level? Well, that might sound crazy, really, but think about it. Our economic system has some common rules, such as the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, that was created after World War II and once one of the three main actors within the United Nations system, or better said, with the multilateral system that we created after that terrible war. And not only that, we also have, for example, a scientific panel of climate change called the IPCC, which makes recommendations to member states of the United Nations and to overall policymakers about climate change. Or many other actors, including the WHO or WMO, and many others that have a concrete, precise expertise in a field that is relevant to humanity, and therefore there's a governance, even though some of the actors I mentioned right now are not as legitimate or maybe do not have the mechanisms or are not as empowered to conduct their mandate or what people might expect from them. But still, there's some kind of governance. Well, for example, for AI, there's nothing. And it might be the most relevant actor agent that were created at the global level, and not only for today or this century, but ever created in the history of humanity. Because really what we're creating is an alien, an agent that can think not only about itself, but can exponentially learn much faster than us because of its nature, that is inorganic matter, and therefore can process millions and millions and millions of bits of information much faster than us. And not only that, but is, as of today, already thinking by itself. Of course, it's still the amoeba of artificial intelligence, and the model that we might have in a couple of years or decades, that might be the Tyrannosaurus Rex of artificial intelligence in comparison to the models that we have today. But still, only 3 years ago, ChatGPT didn't exist, and we're seeing the dramatic impacts, the positive opportunities that it has, but also the potential negative impacts that could have in humanity, that we still not only haven't yet addressed, but we don't have the pillars to address the issue, which basically means that we don't have a global governance. But that might be starting to change, and that's why I'm bringing some good news for you. First of all, the United Nations General Assembly happened some days ago, and we're celebrating that really the global governance dialogue on AI was created 1 year ago. And some days ago, a new initiative was launched, really more or less similar, but also focused on dialogue when it comes to AI, which is a very small first step to having a global governance when it comes to artificial intelligence. But the second one, which is, I would say, much more relevant, is creating an artificial intelligence body, a scientific body, that gives recommendation to member states when it comes to governing artificial intelligence. And this is critical, extremely relevant, especially as AI race is getting much more competitive and the breakthroughs are happening every single day, and we need a body that basically states what should be done and what shouldn't. Again, it's a recommendation. It doesn't have the governing mechanism to prohibit certain practice within an industry, because this is in the end a very new field, and also this governing body doesn't have the mandate to prohibit such behavior. Actually, almost no governing body has that, so we don't expect that will be happening, but at the very least it will be giving some recommendations that most likely states and companies might want to dismiss, but at least you're creating one of the first pillars of having a global governance. Still, there are many milestones to achieve. For example, banning autonomous weapons. They should be completely banned. Banning AI robots, which, I mean, there could be millions and millions of robots. Many companies and countries wonder and are very furious about having a massive wave of immigration and so on. But we're having a massive wave of immigration in our own country via AI robots. And if you haven't had it in your country yet, you will very soon. And it's very easy to create AI robots that, of course, in some fields, they might achieve a higher productivity level in that specific industry, but in general, they can, for example, deepfake a person and or hack another one, and among many other things. The most worrisome one might be creating a polarization within a society and destabilizing that region. That's really the one of the main goals of creating a massive army of AI robots, really. So we're still doing our first baby steps, which is better than none, but still we need to go much further and having a global governance when it comes to AI, as otherwise this AI crazy race might become a catastrophe, as we might create an artificial intelligence that is a general one and is a super intelligent that might surpass singularity tipping points, which basically means that it can reprogram itself and surpass levels that humanity, no human, not the best mathematician or physician or whoever might understand the development of that AI agent, that it will be taking decisions when it comes to the financial system, when it comes to healthcare, education, and so on, that nobody will understand, and that poses a huge risk to humanity as a whole. So we need a robust global governance so that AI doesn't not only govern us, but rather serves humanity, not as a servant, but rather as a savior. And I would say as the relationship that a mother and son would have. So not rather having that kind of behavior that we teach in the AI, which is to being completely competitive and to having the best model so that this model can govern us all, but rather having a model really that serves humanity as a whole. And we hope that with an AI governance at the global level, we can achieve that. But we better hurry because the clock is ticking, the deadlines are approaching. We don't know really when they are, but at some point we will have an AGI, a super intelligent AGI at some other point, and who knows, a singularity point, and even who knows more if a AGI super intelligent, surpassing singularity points, and even achieving consciousness. So that's a potential risk that we have there. We don't know when, we don't know the deadlines, we just know that we need to do it as soon as possible because at some point that will happen, and I hope we better be prepared with a very robust governance. So if you like the content of today, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, enjoy life, embrace your curiosity, and be the change you want to see in the world. See you in the next optimistic adventure.